Good evening. Welcome to Wednesday night's calendar.
Yes, hello, good evening. Here are tonight's main stories.
A man goes on trial accused of murdering a courier with his own delivery van.
Today we saw footage of the victim being dragged alongside his van as he desperately clung on, trying to prevent it from being stolen.
Also tonight, protests as Kirklees councillors prepare to rubber stamp cost-cutting plans and hike council tax to save millions.
All aboard, we join York's last remaining Normandy veteran, Ken Cook, on the bus named in his honour.
And the unique way therapy sheep are helping to improve mental health in Echo. A murder trial has been shown footage of a delivery driver hanging out of the door of his van as he fought to stop it being stolen in the moments before his death.
Claudio Carol Condor from Sheffield died at the scene in Leeds after his van hit two parked cars last summer. The man accused of his murder admits causing Mr Condor's death, but denies deliberately trying to kill him.
Our reporter Michael Billington has been following the case at Leeds Crown Court. And Michael, some shocking CCTV was shown in court today, wasn't it?
Yes, Ian, the jury was shown 4 clips which showed Claudio Carol Condor clinging onto his van as he desperately tried to prevent it from being stolen. He'd been delivering a parcel in Armley in Leeds in August last year when the defendant, Mark Ross, climbed into the driver's seat and drove away. It's thought Mr Condor opened the front passenger door and tried to climb in, but Mr Ross continued driving, leaving the courier hanging from the side of the moving vehicle. The prosecution says he then drove quickly and erratically, swerving and weaving at up to 60 miles an hour, trying but failing to dislodge his victim. In the end, it's claimed he deliberately drove into 2 parked cars. The second crash was severe, the prosecution barrister John Harrison said. One of the clips showing Mr Condor being flung from the vehicle and skidding across the ground as the van drove off. The crash caused him severe head and chest injuries and he died at the scene, despite attempts by the public and paramedics to save him. Following his death, Mr Condor's employer described him as more than just a colleague. He was a friend, a confidant and a valued member of our team.
And Michael, the defendant in this case has already admitted being responsible for Mr Condor's death.
That's right, the jury today was told that Mark Ross, who's 32 and from Conference Road in Armley, accepts stealing the van and admits manslaughter, but he denies murder, saying he didn't realise his victim was hanging from the van at the time it crashed. The judge, Mr Justice Goss KC, said that the jury must consider one key question. Did the defendant intend to kill or at least cause serious harm to Mr Condor, he said. The trial here is expected to last into next week.
Michael Billington live outside Leeds Crown Court. Thank you.
Next tonight, councillors are meeting in Huddersfield to rubber stamp next year's budget, with anger over many of its cost-cutting plans as the authority attempts to make millions of pounds of savings.
The controversial measures include the permanent closure of Dewsbury Leisure Centre and the privatisation of care homes in the district. Now, those who've campaigned against those proposals protested ahead of the meeting earlier.
Well, Lisa Adlam was with them at Huddersfield Town Hall and joins us live now. Lisa, difficult decisions being made there tonight.
Yes, very difficult indeed, Ian. They are difficult decisions when you're facing a funding shortfall of £29.3 million. That's what they're grappling with inside the town hall tonight. And unsurprisingly, some of Kirklees Council's budget plans are highly controversial and highly unpopular. And that's why protesters were here a little earlier to voice their opposition to some of those plans. Now, they say that all public services are being affected. That ranges from gritting, from fly tipping, all those kind of more basic levels. And then they are also, councillors are tabling an alternative budget in which the proposed closure of Dewsbury Leisure Centre wouldn't go ahead. They say that community facilities like that are vital and they must be maintained.
We've got obviously knife crime, antisocial behaviour, all these issues, So for us, opening up Dewsbury Sports Centre is paramount. It's the heartbeat of that community.
There is money there, it's just where it's been spent. We need to have a healthy economy, and in order to do that, we need an educated residents with the Batley Library. We need people that are healthy, which is obviously Dewsbury Sports Centre. And we are elected representatives, we are elected by the people, and we are going to fight for the people of the North that need these services.
And it's the proposed privatisation of care homes that has caused real anger and frustration amongst many of the people who came here tonight, who have gone in to the meeting to have their say. They are really concerned and fearful for the future and well-being of their loved ones who are in those care homes.
The fear is that profits are going to be put before care, and that also we're going to have to pay more.
If they're going to raise our taxes, do it for social care. Do it. Put the money in. Let's subsidise the most vulnerable in our communities.
Keep that care home and the Castle Grange care home open, because it's your loved one at the end of the day, and if this is the last thing I can do for my mum, then I'm going to fight.
So as you can see, some highly emotive issues are on the table tonight, and I think that probably means this meeting is set to go on for some time yet, as Kirklees Council, like all the authorities across our region, continues to wrangle with these major financial dilemmas.
Yes, it could get quite heated. Lisa Adlam, thank you very much, live outside Huddersfield Town Hall.
Well, meanwhile, as councillors in Leeds look to make savings across the city, Crown Green bowlers have hit out at plans to increase playing costs, which they say will force many out of the game. Hare Hills Park Bowling Club was one of 30 earmarked for closure under the authority's original cost-cutting measures. But after a temporary reprieve in January, new council proposals include doubling season ticket prices and making clubs foot energy and water bills. It says the steps are necessary to tackle serious financial challenges and that clubs' concerns are being taken into account. Members, though, believe they're being unfairly targeted.
I've already heard that a lot of members have said that they can't afford it, so that they won't be playing into this summer anyway. So it's appalling, and a play on a lot of people's emotions as well. What they thought was a relief in January it's now come back again and as a shock.
A really good, enjoyable sport to play, and it gets people out. And all you're going to essentially do is isolate the older people as well. And, it's not fair on them as well.
You're watching Wednesday night's calendar. Thanks for being with us. And still to come on the programme, having a bad day, we meet the therapy sheet, helping people with their mental health.
And the weather conditions have definitely been very therapeutic over the last few days. And what about that sunrise first thing this morning? More of your photos and, of course, the forecast a little later on.
But first, some more news from around the region. Two men who sexually abused vulnerable young girls living in a children's home in Rotherham have been jailed. Romelad Stefan Ufwet, who's 37, and Absalom Sigio, who's 41, were both found guilty of grooming and raping two 15-year-old girls between 1997 and 2013. The court heard that the pair had referred to the girls as fresh meat and plied them with alcohol before inflicting severe psychological harm to them. They were jailed for a combined total of nearly 40 years.
A first glimpse of the £100 million transformation of Leeds Bradford Airport's terminal has been released. CGI images have revealed what we can expect from the airport's expansion project. The major redevelopment is hoped to create a better passenger experience and is set to be completed in time for this year's summer holidays.
A nursery in Sheffield is facing a race against the clock to save itself from eviction. St Leonard's Day Nursery in Norwood has been operating on church premises for the best part of 3 decades, but it was recently given just 30 days to vacate.
Well, the church where the nursery is based says it's not a decision it's taken lightly, finding itself at a financial crossroads. But the nursery is raising funds to challenge the decision. Adam Fowler reports.
Since 1995, this nursery has been providing vital care for 2 to 5-year-olds in Norwood, Sheffield. But that could all be coming to a swift end. It was told last month it has 30 days to vacate the premises. It's crushing news for the families of the 43 children who are registered here, 8 of those children having special educational needs.
She loves it here. I don't know what she'd do without coming here.
I was literally in tears because obviously it gives me a break when the bus comes here, so I can do my things at home. It'll be hard for us. It'll be hard and difficult.
It would be a big step down from the progress we've actually made in his eating and with behaviour.
The nursery employs 8 members of staff who now find their livelihoods at risk. Nicola has worked here for 24 years.
We're all devastated. Staff have been here a long time and served a lot of children in the community. It's our life as well.
Nobody from the church was available to be interviewed by us today, but they did tell us that there's never been a formal lease in place. They say that's despite them trying to establish one, which would take into account rent adjustments for the increased cost of services, utilities and repairs. It says the parochial church council is now at a financial crossroads with stretched budgets and an urgent need to invest in the upkeep and renovation of church buildings. It says it's not taken this decision lightly, having actively sought an amicable solution over a number of years. But the nursery says they do have a formal agreement and they're raising money for solicitors' fees to prove it, and that they've seen rent increases to cover costs.
We've always paid rent per the basic agreement that was in place in 1995. Rent has increased annually. We have no objection with that. We know that the cost of things are going up. And if we could just talk to somebody, if they need anything, we could try and obviously work out a new increase. But we've had no communication as to why they want us to go.
The nursery was expecting to vacate the premises by Friday. But thanks to a last-minute intervention by the Archdeacon, they've now been granted an extra week. They're also being given the opportunity to get round the table and talk things through. They hope that means a new agreement can be reached and rubber stamped as soon as possible. Adam Fowler, ITV News, Sheffield.
Yes, let's hope they can move forward positively. The ITV Evening News continues at 6:30. Here's a look at what's happening with Lucrezia Millarini.
Coming up on the evening news, the Trump administration escalates its battle against Zelensky. America suspends intelligence sharing with Ukraine in what could be a huge blow in the war against Russia. A PhD student is guilty of drugging and raping 10 women here and in China, as police fear more than 50 other victims. And 80 years on from these celebrations at the end of the Second World War, big plans for this year's VE Day commemorations. Join me for these stories and more at 6:30.
Thank you, Lucrezia. Now, this week, we're looking at the change in children's reading habits, with many no longer choosing to pick up a book and read for pleasure.
Parents are being encouraged to reverse that trend by getting their children into books from an early age. Well, tonight, our reporter Lauren Hall's been finding out why a reading revival starts with families sharing a story.
You're never too young to enjoy a book, and it's something they encourage at this baby group at Howard House in Leeds.
I think it's important for his vocabulary and his speech and language development.
When he's sad in the day, just a book will cheer him up, which is lovely. And quite often when he's playing, he'll start bouncing, bum shuffling over to his pile of books.
I'm not sure how much of it goes in. He likes to chew the pages a lot at the moment, but it's just a nice time out for us every day.
Despite that, research from Book Trust shows less than half our children are getting a regular bedtime story. Babies, toddlers and preschoolers often miss out, with a fifth being read to less than once a month. While around a quarter of parents with young children say they find it challenging to read with them.
We need to work out how to enjoy reading again, and we need to encourage parents to read to their children from the very earliest age. If you get into the habit of reading with a little one, that habit often tends to stay and keeps on going and builds. So what we need to change is starting really early, and we also need to make reading fun.
If anyone can do that, it's MC Grammar. When it comes to children's books, he doesn't just read them, he wraps them.
I was walking down the road and I saw a donkey. It went
Yes, that really is Wonky Donkey, read to the tune of 500 Miles by the Proclaimers.
This my book. All the creatures sing along to the hook.
And Gwen Stefani's Hollaback Girl was the soundtrack of choice for Superworm.
Watch him wiggle, see him squirm. Hip hip hooray for Superworm.
So for me, it's all about making books relevant and engaging, and it's about understanding books and taking the pressure off yourselves and realising that books have multiple dimensions. You can act them out, you can read them, you could talk about them, and of course you can rap them.
And how important is it for parents to be reading with their children?
I think it's the most important thing you can do together. It kicks off conversation, connection, those bonding moments between each other. I think it's the only point in our day where everything else just stops around us and we're just together without distraction, lost in different worlds, different stories, and just enjoying a good book.
It's all about making reading enjoyable for children and parents. So whether you're reading or rapping, you'll want to share stories together. Lauren Hall, ITV News.
Enjoying the speedy shark there. Well, I'm sure any parents who have children of a certain age will know that tomorrow is World Book Day, and we'd love to see how the region has dressed up. It's quite a day, of course, so send pictures of your little ones dressed up to us here. Calendar@itv.com. We'd love to see them.
Yes, and good luck if you're still running around trying to get that costume together.
I don't know what I'm going to wear tomorrow.
Where's Wally?
Thank you. Where's Chris?
I don't know.
He's over there.
Here I am.
Oh,
You look good in red and white, Ian, I think.
Oh, do you think?
A bit like Lara is tonight.
we could both dress like that, couldn't we?
Yeah.
What have you got
Sport
for us?
then.
Yeah, happy Wednesday to you two, and a very happy Wednesday as well, if you're a Bradford City fan.
Xero Accounting Software sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
Now, you remember you two, back in the day, there was a TV programme called Record Breakers, remember that?
Yeah, I loved it. I used to watch that, did
Roy
you?
Castle.
Yeah.
Roy Castle, Cheryl Baker.
Norris, the expert, world record expert.
You're
Norris
showing your
McWhirter.
age there, Ian.
I know, I've been around a long time, Chris.
You have, clearly.
I'm a record breaker.
Well, if that show was still going, Bradford City might have been featured because they broke a record last night. Their 3-0 victory over Cheltenham at Valley Parade was their 10th home win in a row, and that is a club record. It also moves City a bit further clear of the chasing pack in the hunt for League 2 promotion and closer to top spot as well. The Bantams currently second, 8 points clear of fourth and just 2 points behind Walsall, who lead the way. OK, elsewhere last night, well, I'll be honest, there wasn't really much to shout about. Not only our only other winners, but our only other team to score a goal were Rotherham, and even that was scored for them. This own goal earning the Millers a 1-0 victory over Leyton Orient. OK, on to Rugby League, and Castleford Tigers head coach Danny Maguire says he's preparing his team as normal for Friday night's game against Salford. The Lancashire side are in financial disarray, with players reportedly still waiting to be paid last month's wages. At present, the game is still going ahead, and Maguire says all his focus is on his own team.
We're doing everything possible to make sure that we're in a good position to play well, so all the other things are out of my control. All I can control and all we can control as a team and as a club is what we can dictate and look after, and that's where we're at. I've not heard anything, probably anything more than you guys have.
Now, I'm not sure if you two will remember this, but last year I was up at Catterick Racecourse to interview the legend that is Frank Buttery. Now, he's a massive horse racing enthusiast, and that day was celebrating his 104th birthday. Well, he had a special lunch with his friends, and this is what he said afterwards.
Pleasure to be here, and I'm going to make a promise that I'll be here when I'm 105.
Well, I hope you could hear that. Frank said he'd be back when he was 105, and I'm pleased to say he was true to his word. Today, Frank was back at his beloved Catterick to take in a glorious day's racing and to celebrate his 105th birthday.
Oh, everything's good. I mean, I can't, no grumbles whatsoever. Why should I grumble? And I've got two places. I've got two lovely friends in there. Well, friends all over the place here. And I come to the best racecourse in Great Britain. This is homely, friendly, and everybody is kind and generous and associated. Wonderful place, wonderful.
So will we see you next year as well?
I'm hoping to. I wouldn't be sure. God let me know, yes. Of course I'll be sure. I'm going to come May next when I'm 106.
Oh, bless Frank. He's an absolute legend, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he's going to be there next year, isn't he? Let's hope.
Yeah, and happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
to him
Frank.
as well.
Great, thank you very much, Chris. Now, the last surviving veteran of the D-Day landings in York has been honoured today with his very own bus. Ken Cook was greeted by his friends and family with a bus named after him. The 99-year-old was just 18 when he landed in Normandy in 1944. He says he can't believe the efforts everyone made to surprise him.
I could have dropped to the floor, I'm not kidding. But it's been marvellous, you know. I mean, they arranged all this for my benefit. Why, I don't know. Tell me all sorts of stories why they do these things, but no, it is, I love it. It's brilliant.
Oh, happy birthday, of course, to Ken.
People are getting older these days, aren't they?
They are indeed. They are indeed. Let's see if Kerry can bring us some good news on the weather front.
I can't bring you any sport.
But maybe a bit of weather, do you think?
Some weather, yeah. It's been lovely across the region today, hasn't it?
Yeah.
We had highs of about 16 Celsius in Sheffield. The average is about 10. So we're at least 4 or 5 degrees above where we'd expect for the time of year.
We have had some gremlins in the system, but I think we've finally got to
There we go.
pictures.
Holy Moorside looking beautiful for early March. I wouldn't know where to start, I'll tell you. Yeah, 15 degrees. It could even be warmer tomorrow, and we've got our air coming directly from the south, so feeling even warmer, a double whammy if you like. Now, I don't know if you were up at 6:30 this morning to take the sunrise. We've basically got a competition between our staff members and our viewers. This was our producer, Mark Whitty, in North Yorkshire, near Harrogate. Gorgeous sunrise first thing this morning, and this was from Hannah Norbury, who's one of our production journalists. So a big thank you for sharing. I know when I get it in the newsroom that our inbox is going to be full, so I'll whiz through just a small selection of you just getting up and taking most of these photographs from outside the window or on your way to work. A big thank you for sending weather photos at itv.com. Look at this one of the Diving Bell in Scarborough. Absolutely beautiful, yeah. It was partly due to high pressure and a little bit of cloud coming in from the northwest, but it all melted away and that left us with a good dose of sunshine and some decent temperatures. Will it last tomorrow? You will soon find out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, there are many ways of getting help when it comes to your mental health. Local services, talking to people, family and friends. But one therapist from Leeds is actually using her sheep, yes, you did hear me right, to help put a smile on people's faces.
Yes, Grace Olson has 6 woolly pets which she uses to give therapy sessions to those struggling. But let's not bleat around the bush any longer. Here's Sarah Clark to tell us more.
You would never know it by looking at them, but this small flock of 6 are actually therapy sheep. There's Teddy, Galahad, Lancelot, Beryl, Rhubarb, and of course Merlin.
Merlin is the king of cuddles. He's a brilliant therapy sheep and he just knows what each person needs. When somebody's here for therapy, he can be really calm, stands with them, lets them cuddle him. It's a whole sensory thing. You've got the thick denseness of the wool and the bizarreness of them actually enjoying that interaction.
And one person enjoying that woolly interaction is Alison Conn. She's been coming to this field in Eckup for therapy for the last few years.
When you come and meet Beryl or Merlin and they come up to you, and not only come up to you, but then you actually start to hug them, which sounds really weird, but it just really, really lifts you because it feels slightly mad, but it's absolutely brilliant. You know, who would have thought that hugging a sheep would help? But it really, really does.
Growing up, Grace struggled with her mental health and found therapy helped. So after rescuing the flock when they were just lambs, she created the very unique sessions.
It's wonderful. It's like I've come full circle and I feel that I'm fulfilling my sole purpose. I feel that I was born to help others and that the trouble that I went through as a youngster has enabled me to be a much better therapist now.
Grace has also written a children's book inspired by her pet sheep, who've brought comfort to so many. And in return,
Do you want a biscuit?
a little thank you treat.
It's a rich tea. Oh, Beryl, that's a bit greedy.
Sarah Clark, ITV News in Leeds.
Oh, Beryl is greedy, isn't she?
She is indeed. So I think I need some therapy now.
Yeah.
Any sheep on hand?
No, I don't think so. They were lovely and kind, though, weren't they?
Little lamb.
Oh, no. Well, we might be able to find you one. Let's go to Kerry now.
Today's forecast: seafood and sugar cube towns. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Hello again. Yes, another decent day across the region today, with that cloud lifting first thing this morning, giving us that fantastic sunrise first thing, but plenty of blue sky coming through during the afternoon, just with some high cloud not spoiling things too much at all, and some decent temperatures for the time of year. We import a southerly as we head through tonight and into tomorrow, so warmer still. Make the most of it if you can. A weather front coming through on Friday, and then low pressure trying to edge in from the southwest as we head into the weekend, but hopefully in between these fronts, still some sunny weather and some decent temperatures to come, albeit breezy at times. Little bit of a breeze overnight tonight, but we're generally clear and dry, and therefore in shelter spots in rural locations it will get down to the very low single figures. A touch of frost not out of the question, but for most of us between around 3 and 5 Celsius as we head into the early part of tomorrow morning. So tomorrow we are indeed expecting a little bit more in the way of sunshine from the word go. We've got that southerly seeping its way in from the south, helping to lift those temperatures, as well as, of course, the March sunshine into the afternoon. So we could be getting a 16, possibly a 17 Celsius. It will be breezy, but it's coming from that warm southerly quarter. So out of the breeze, certainly feeling very pleasant for the time of year. You can see the cloud shadow there. There is a threat of something quite showery as we head into tomorrow evening, and certainly more unsettled as we head into the early part of Friday. So expect cloudier skies, breezy conditions, maybe not quite as warm, but in between the fronts, Saturday and Sunday, still some sunshine and some decent temperatures for the time of year.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
I love that picture behind you.
I know, it's beautiful, isn't it? You were there, weren't you? Looking at it first thing this morning.
Well, if only I'd opened my curtains, I might have seen it.
Is that you there walking your dog? Thanks very much for watching us. We'll see you again tomorrow night at 6 from the whole team. A very good night.
Good night.
Bye.